My Atlanta Falcons lost to Ryan's New England Patriots 24-23 this week in Week 9. Now we're going to fly to Berlin to take on now my dad's team, the Indianapolis Colts, who are coming off probably their worst performance of the year. But I think there's still a lot of promising things the Colts fans can take from their loss. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan. We're going to break down this Week 10 matchup between the Falcons and Colts that will be played in Berlin. And we're going to provide our predictions at the very end of the video. So be sure to stay tuned, leave a comment, and also hit that subscribe button, get notified when new videos come out. And Ryan, both the Falcons and the Colts are coming off Week 9 losses here.
Yeah.
One was one of the team's worst performances of the year, and one was actually like not a horrible performance, all things considered, for my Atlanta Falcons. And so, but still losing 23-24. Missing an extra point, which I feel like a very Falcons way to lose a game. it kind of fits the bill, but some
Yeah.
promising things, to kind of look at it. One, I think it's always nice to be proven right, and I've been saying it. When Drake London's not in the lineup, if we lose Drake London, our offense goes anemic, which is what we saw in Miami. And then when he comes back, he only has 9 catches, 118 yards, and the 3 touchdown passes that Michael Penix had on the day. Uh, the last one was just amazing. But
Yeah.
and the little props I will give to Zach Robinson is the other 2 touchdowns were essentially the same touchdowns, but good scheming to get him on a favorable matchup for a jump ball pass over the 5'8" corner Marcus Jones. But
Yeah.
it's I think a lot of good things to say about the defense, about the front 7 overall and the way we played. That's what I think really kept us in this game. And they're going to have our hands full here going up against Daniel Jones and this Indianapolis Colts team. Because I think one of the things, too, as well, when I look at this, they played not well today, but it's really just because of all of self-inflicted wounds. I believe it was 6 turnovers
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, 6 turnovers, 3 fumbles lost, 3 picks, a couple of strip sack fumbles, which I'll get to a little bit more in a second here. But I think the Colts are going to be like, we should have won this game. We were better than this team, and now we're going to have to go play a team that is also that we're better than in Berlin, and we're not going to make these same mistakes. So I think it's going to be interesting how this game shapes up. We're going to get into it more. But Ryan, you being the Patriots fan as well, what do you think of the Falcons today? And also, too, what are your thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts, who have the same record as you?
Yeah. So starting off with the Falcons, I was kind of impressed with the Falcons. I felt in my opinion, the Patriots clearly looked like the better team. They just let the Falcons hang around. And then they were able to put together a nice set of offensive drives there. They had 10 points off turnovers. That defense was flying around up front. They got the strip sack on Drake May at the end of the first half. And that led to 7 points. And then Drake May misread the coverage and overthrew Hunter Henry. And you guys were able to put up 3 points on the board there. And if it weren't for some self-inflicted wounds, I think we'd be talking about how John Parker Romo kicked the game winner instead of the fact that he missed the extra point in that aspect. But you go look at that intentional grounding, giving the ball back to New England there at the end of the game, I think was just that was the final straw that broke the camel's back, I think, for your Falcons. And I think that's kind of been the story there of you guys kind of just losing on the margins now, going to 3-5.
Yeah.
And you miss the extra point. You have the intentional grounding that makes it 3rd and 20. And then, that's just a tough spot to put your offense in, especially in a critical situation when the game is on the line there. So I do think the good news for the Falcons is you have a star in Bijan, you have a star in Drake London. I think Michael Penix Jr., when given the proper amount of time, I think can be a good quarterback in the NFL, and then he can kind of continue to develop. It was nice to see his mobility today on display in certain situations. And so all in all, I think the future is bright for the Falcons. I just think right now you guys have some coaching things going on that are holding you back from reaching your full potential.
Yeah. No, I'd say,
Yeah.
and I think to start off with a positive is I think as a fan base we were all like just clamoring for like some sort of pass rush, some sort
Yeah.
of way to like be
You got it.
disruptive. And I think we got it, especially to the strip sack fumble that almost turned into a defensive touchdown. Luckily, we were able to put up points. Only took us a couple tries to get in there offensively. I'll get to that in a second. But at the same time, though, it was Jalen Walker that came in with the sack strip fumble, and then James Pierce Jr. Is the one who recovered it and nearly returned it to a touchdown. And I think there's a lot of other great things I think to be said about that as well too. Felt like we were constantly causing havoc I really like AJ Terrell as well too. It's good to have Jesse Bates back there. We are. I think one thing is we look at the offseason, like we need another corner, like Mike Hughes and D Alford, like they're doing the best they can and they have their moments, but over a 60-minute game, like it's just not enough, if that makes sense. But um, in general, though, I think the defense is shaping up well. So like props to Raheem Morris there, props to Jeff Ulbrich, props also to Terry Fontenot as well too for drafting those guys, and we kind of really honestly listen to the fan base as well too. I mean, we have 22 sacks on the season, coming off of 6 sack performance here. And then if I go back and look, we had 6 sacks. We've had since the bye, if I'm reading this correctly, we've had 12 sacks, which is awesome. We had 18 sacks all last year. So in 4 weeks,
Yeah.
we've had nearly as much as we had all last year. And of those 18, I think 10 of them came in the final 4 weeks of the season. Like we had one like
Yeah.
6 sack game, if I'm not mistaken. So um, but another thing though too, what you said, and offensively, it's just self-inflicted wounds. Like how many false starts do we have? How many
Yeah.
just miscues, just absolute miscues. And then you do that on top of then the fact that I still think our play calling, I gave the props to the red zone play calling. Like you got a 6'5" receiver, let's try and set up mismatches to get him on the 5'8" corner. That's creative. But to me, I still think it's the lack of creativity is slowing us down in the run game, not really. And I think it is. I feel like we don't really attack the middle of the field nearly that much. And all this to just to sum up, I'm probably speaking for majority of fan base here, but a majority of the Falcons fan base here is Zach Robinson's got to go. Like
Yeah.
when you watch this game against the Colts, watch the Falcons offense and how they dial up a drive and set defenses up here, and then go watch how the Colts do it. Because this Colts offense, they did not play well today. Like
No.
we went about self-inflicted wounds. They should have beat the crap out of Pittsburgh, if we're being completely honest. 6 turnovers, and they only lost by a touchdown. Like, and I think the way if they're in Berlin and if they're motivated to come out and be like last week was a fluke, and how good this team is, and you go see Shane Steichen, I think running this offense, I could we cause some havoc with this offensive line potentially. But still, though, I think the way that they're going to be able to set up our defense, hit these crossing routes, really utilize all aspects of the field. I think it's going to be night and day difference on the scheming of the
Yeah.
offensive play calling from one team to the other.
Yeah, and that's to kind of get into the Colts a little bit here. They had a really rough game in Pittsburgh. I saw some of the interceptions. Like one, Daniel Jones just didn't see a linebacker behind a defensive lineman. And then he had another interception that was like a tipped pass that got batted over back over his head that got caught by I believe was it TJ Watt that caught
Mm-hmm.
it. And so like some of those were fluky. The other thing that the Steelers did really well was they stopped the run. Colts only ran for 55 yards. Part of that was because they got a lead. But this Steelers team only had 187 passing yards and 38 rushing yards. And I think you go look at this Colts team, as good as this offense has been, I want to give this defense some props too, because defensively they have been fairly solid all year, especially in the running game. They haven't allowed more than 113 yards in a game. They've only allowed over 100 yards 4 times this year. Sorry, 118, and then yeah, 4 games still. Uh, and so I think that defense is going to come out and they're going to play really well. And this is as good as your guys' pass rush has been on the Falcons. This run game, you guys are 22nd in the league in rushing yards allowed per game.
Yeah,
I think the Colts, not, and we can get into predictions here. I think the Colts are going to run the ball all over y'all because not only are they going to be, not only I think they're going to be the superior team in the trenches on that side. I think they're going to come out with extra fire under their ass and they're going to get
yeah.
after you guys in the run game.
Well, and even too as well, just talk about how self inflicted this was. I think every turnover that the Colts had, the Steelers put up points. So the first
Yeah,
fumble, Steelers got the ball midfield, went down, scored a touchdown. Next drive, 2 plays in, they got an interception, and then only four. Then the Steelers got the ball inside the red zone, 14 yards, and was a touchdown. And then the interception that ended the third quarter, that was towards the end of the third quarter. Once again, the Steelers got the ball at the middle of the field
yeah,
and went down, scored a touchdown. So once again, that's still 50 yards, 56 yards on both of them that they still had to go. But a lot different defensive play calling than when the drive started at the 50 versus at the drive starting at the 20 or the
Yeah.
25. And so once again, it's and I think too to your point, the Colts it kind of got a little bit out of hand because of self-inflicted wounds to where like shoot we got to somehow play catch up and lean more on Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
which that's Daniel Jones has played really well this year, especially I think he fits well within the system, but Jonathan Taylor runs this offense. You need to be able
Yeah.
to run through Jonathan Taylor to open things up in the passing game. And to your point, yeah, I really have liked what I've seen, especially in this game too. I thought Rook Dorless, I think Onion Mata's been playing well also, so even our defensive front guys, like I like the prospects over these next couple of years of what our
Yeah.
front seven could be. I do think we just need to get once when Anya Mata moves on. I think we just need to get I won't swear, but like just a fat mofo, like a Vita Vea like guy, just stuff him in the middle for this like 3-4 style defense that we want. I mean anybody would love Vita Vea, so I know I'm being very
Yeah.
specific,
Travis
but
Jones is a free agent this year from the Ravens, I think.
I think if we get a guy like that, which would help out in the running game, because we do have that explosiveness. However, they're on the lighter side. And when I go and look at this Colts offensive line here, they had a tough time today. Admittedly, like the tackles got burnt against T.J. Watt several times. But I think also too part of that, as watching it with Dad, part of it too is like, like if your tackles are struggling because TJ Watt, Daniel Jones though needs to be like I need to help on the protection. So I think that's going to be some of the things they're going to work on as well too.
Yeah.
But also we don't have TJ Watt, so that's going to be a difference here. So and I'm not trying to. I know if you're Falcons fans, if you're watching me, like I'm not just trying to just rag on our team. I want this team. I'm sick and tired of just poor offensive performances. Like that's why it's nice to see like the sack performance here, but I think as well too. I think the Colts are going to go into Berlin, and I think their defense is. I think it's going to be a good matchup between their offense and our their defense and our offense. But once again, the two is I think they're going to sniff it out, and at the same time too, I don't think we're going to be able to keep up with them offensively. If the Colts maintain the control of the ball, I think most of their drives end in points.
Yeah.
Like no, I know I just credited the defense a bunch, but it's not really any shame to our defense. It's more I think this offense is that good. They
Yeah.
just kept shooting themselves in the foot today.
Well, and like the Patriots have an okay rushing offense. It's been a little bit better the last few weeks, but if you go look at what the Colts have done with Jonathan Taylor, it's one of the best in the league, and they're
Yeah.
just blowing teams off the ball. And not the Falcons could potentially just stack the box and just be like, we're going to put 8 or 9 guys in the box depending on what formation. But then that's when the Colts are going to hit Tyler Warren for 5 yards, and then he's going to run and do all that. So that's where I think this Falcons defense is going to be in a pretty big bind in this matchup, because if you let Jonathan Taylor run for 202 touchdowns, I mean, you that's just going to be so hard to keep up with, like you said, especially for an offense that I think has been good in spurts and has a lot of talent, but just because of the coaching and the play calling, I think really struggles with its consistency, even like on a drive in, drive out basis. And so for that reason, I'm picking the Colts. I think they're gonna come out on top in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Colts as well for two reasons. As much like I want to like I'm going to be rooting for them, but it's like I also want to be unbiased here with our picks as well too. And just say some crap on here, but I think for two reasons. One, I do think Jonathan Taylor in this team is going to have a good running performance in general. Falcons have given up 124.38 rushing yards per game. Some of that is caveat, as though too, to be fair, because even on the flip side too, we only give up 158 rushing yards. Where we've been behind in the vast majority of the games that we played, so those numbers I think could be slightly skewed a tad. That all being said, though, I do think our defensive line leans towards we can give up some rushing yards more, and on the same time too, I think our pass numbers lean towards we're behind in games a lot. Not like our secondary super good,
Yeah.
even though there's some good moments. But then on the flip side too, the Colts are averaging 125 rushing yards, and that's purely because of how great this offensive line is, and Jonathan Taylor's one of the best backs in the league. So I would love to go with the Falcons, but we got to get an offensive mind in there that's not named Zach Robinson or Arthur Smith. So I think the hopes. I think all Falcons fans are hoping for. Leave a comment down below if you're still here with us in the video. We appreciate it, but love nothing more love nothing more. If we're going to keep Raheem this offseason, fire Zach Robinson. Mike McDaniel gets fired. I would love to see Mike McDaniel with Michael Penix's arm, Bijan Robinson speed. You got Drake London. You go and draft some young receivers or bring in some young talent, speed talent. I think that would be really interesting. I think
Yeah.
that'd be really fun. It's very, very specific on who I said, but there's a lot of other good options. But I think he could have a lot of fun running this
Yeah.
offense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that would be a great offensive hire for Raheem Morris and this Falcon staff. So,
Yeah.
let's go ahead. We're both taking the Colts in this matchup. Let's wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Atlanta Falcons? Will it be the Indianapolis Colts? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.